All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today for our information session, Maximizing Your Pathway, all about stackable certificates and degrees. My name is Jacqueline Brinkhouse, and I'll be our webinar moderator for today. A few housekeeping items before we get started. We will be recording this webinar, and we will send you the recording out in about a week. We'll send this to the email you used to register, and it will also be available on the event page you used to register and our Harvard Extension School YouTube channel. Please utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to ask us your questions. Members of our Office of Predegree Advising and Admissions and our Enrollment Services team are working diligently in the background to answer your questions. We'll provide contact info for follow-up at the end of the presentation if your question is not answered. Before we jump in, we would like to hear from you all. So we're going to launch a poll on our screen in about a moment just to kind of hear about what you're interested in our stackable pathways. All right, I see people answering. This is great. We have people wanting to obtain a certificate, obtain a degree, a lot of people who are still unsure, and that is completely fine. Awesome. We'll give folks a few more seconds to answer. All right, I'm going to end that poll. Great. So it looks like people are here from across the board wanting to learn more about certificates, degrees, or really just hear about our offerings. So it's great that today we have a bunch in store for you all. First, we're going to hear about the value of stackable credentials from Amanda Peters, our Director of Harvard Extension School Career Advising and Programming, and our Associate Director of the Mignone Center for Career Success. Then we'll learn about certificate and microcertificate offerings and how to pursue this stackable pathway. Next, we'll discuss our degree offerings and how to get started when your end goal is a degree. We'll also briefly discuss what to do if your end goal is still to be determined, which it looks like for many of you that is the case. And we'll conclude our presentation with next steps and invite our panel back for a Q&A to answer your questions live. We have an exceptional group of panelists here today to discuss these different pathways, and they will join us at the live Q&A session following this presentation. At Harvard Extension School, we pride ourselves on being accessible, pragmatic, academically rigorous, and flexible. One of the ways we offer our students flexibility is through our various stackable pathways. It is now my pleasure to introduce Amanda Peters, who will discuss the value of stackable credentials. Welcome, Amanda. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, I had a little bit of a problem with my video there for 1 second, but I'm so glad to see you all. And thank you, Jacqueline, for the introduction. As she mentioned, my name is Amanda Peters, and I lead the Harvard Extension School Career Services team. We serve all enrolled Harvard Extension School students through the Career and Academic Resource Center, or CARC. And we serve admitted degree students and degree alumni through the Mignone Center for Career Success that's part of the Harvard Faculty of Arts and Sciences and is where I am here today. For more information on our services, you can visit the Career Services link, which is being put into the chat right now. So I'm here to speak briefly about how stackable credentials can positively impact your career development by clarifying your interests, providing a credibility signal to employers, increasing your knowledge, and adding to your network. Because of our team's reach, I get to hear from students at all stages of their Harvard Extension School journey, whether they're taking one class, earning a certificate, getting their pre-admission coursework completed, or already admitted into a degree program. And I regularly hear about the benefits to careers, even from those who've only taken one class or in the midst of their first class. I myself took 2 classes at the Harvard Extension School over 20 years ago that helped me make the transition into my current career and is one of the reasons I'm so passionate about working with people here. Through stackable credentials, you can clarify your career interests and also fill skills gaps. It's so important for ongoing career development to continually investigate your values and motivations, interests, the skills that you have that you want to use, such a difference there, and where you have gaps in your knowledge or skill sets that you need to fill to get to where you want to go. A class can be a way to try out a new area or hone a new skill, and then you can tailor your education through stackable credentials to fit your unique professional goal. Additionally, these credentials, whether class or certificate, and the academic projects that you complete while gaining them, can be a signal to employers on your job search materials and in interviews of your skill, interest in, or knowledge of a particular area. Through this, you can gain added credibility at your current job, take on new responsibilities, or leverage that course or credential to make a move. For example, talking to potential employers about how your new education allowed you to gain expertise, even before starting on the path to stack to a degree. And next, networking, right? It's the number one way to find a new role, and the network that you can build at the Harvard Extension School is truly invaluable. Our experienced students are an amazing resource for each other, and instructors, TAs, guest speakers, alumni, staff, and student clubs can make a massive impact on your career growth. And finally, through your studies, you're demonstrating your commitment to lifelong learning and your ability to juggle challenging courses with work or other out-of-classroom engagements. Your new knowledge gained, along with the network and the resources available to you, can lead you on a path that you might never have expected. So, as you start thinking about your unique personalized journey, I want you to ask yourself these questions, and you might want to actually make a note of them for yourself now as you start thinking of answers to these. What's my end goal? What do I want to learn? What gaps might I need to fill in knowledge or experience? And where do I want my new education to take me? Do I want to achieve a degree and maybe pick up a certificate along the way? Or do I want to focus on earning a certificate and want to explore a micro certificate as I work toward that goal? If you don't know the answers to these questions right now, that's absolutely fine. There's lots of support to help you weigh your different options over the course of your Harvard Extension School journey. So I'd like to now turn this over to my colleague, Casey Hallett, the coordinator of graduate certificates, who will talk to you a bit more about certificate programs.
Thank you so very much, Amanda. I appreciate that. Welcome all. Welcome to the webinar. I'm going to start off by giving you guys some history on certificates before we get into what they are. So we first launched certificates in 2011, 2012, and we launched five course certificates at that time. We have since expanded exponentially throughout the years. We now offer over 50 graduate level certificates, with 8 of them being micro certificates. And these micro certificates are stackable to the graduate certificates. And then the graduate certificates are stackable towards the degrees. I'd also like to mention that we offer 4 undergraduate certificates for those students that are pursuing an undergraduate degree. Let's move on to the next slide so that I can give some examples and then some logistics on our certificates and its self-sufficient process. Our certificates do not require an application. Our micro certificates can be completed in 1 year, which is 3 consecutive terms, while our graduate certificates can be completed in 3 years' time. Like on the screen here, it shows some examples for y'all. Project management methodologies. Micro certificate would definitely stack to the project management certificate, which then could stack towards a degree. Like the sustainable finance micro certificate can stack towards the corporate sustainability and innovation. And then the web application development micro certificate can stack towards the front end web development certificate. These certificates, like I said, are self-sufficient. So students are able to pursue these certificates at any time. You can register for courses during an open registration period. Let's move on so that I can give you a little bit of a background of what these certificates can give you for the future. It gives you a great grad school preparation, personal enrichment, advancement in your personal self, professional advancement in areas that you already work in, or you can change career. And again, like I said, the certificates are open enrollment. And then benefits of a graduate certificate, you become an alumni associate afterwards. This is different from an alumni, but it's still a very good credential to add to your resume. The factors for determining a certificate that you might be interested in are very important. So we have a certificate course search page that students can look into what certificate might best interest them. And then you can find what courses would count towards that certificate, and then find when open enrollment is available. Currently, right now, we are in open enrollment for the summer semester, so students are able to register for courses at this time and begin their certificate studies if they wish at this time. Again, you need to determine what certificate you might be interested in first. Review the certificate courses that are available that do count towards that certificate. You have to browse the course offerings using our certificate course search page. That is the most beneficial tool to finding out how the courses count towards the certificate. We suggest that you use this course search page, and there'll be a picture of it in a coming slide. We'll get to that in a second. But this course search page is designed so that you can look exactly at the courses that count towards each certificate. And if you want to open a second tab, you're able to compare. So you can open a second tab to a degree and see if the courses compare and meet the requirements for the degree as well. These are ways that you can find out whether or not it is stackable, the credential is stackable. And then you can register for your first course during an open registration period. We can go on to the next slide. Here's some insider tips for certificate earners. We have plenty of support services for you. While you're pursuing a certificate, we have something called the Certificate Tracker and Request Form. This tracker and request form will show that you are currently registered or have currently passed courses with the required grade of B or higher that would count towards the certificate. And then we also have weekly virtual office hours where students can check in and ask any questions regarding the certificate. This is also a picture of the course search page that we have. And this is a picture of basically the course search page is like the most ideal spot to find exactly what you're looking for, whether it pertains to the certificate, micro certificate, undergraduate certificate, degree offerings. This page will tell you exactly how the courses count towards the certificate so that you can be sure that you're doing or registered and enrolled in the correct certificate course or degree course. We can move on to the next. And that'll be all. It's now my pleasure to introduce my colleagues, Ashley Wilcox and Carol Crouch, Predegree and Admissions Advisors here at Harvard Extension School.
All right, thank you so much, Casey, for talking about the certificate options. I'm going to turn our attention to the degree pathway you may decide to pursue on your journey at Harvard Extension School. There are many benefits to becoming an admitted degree candidate, including early course registration, access to a Harvard student ID card, locking in your degree requirements, academic research opportunities, and much more. Additionally, you can apply your certificate courses to degree requirements as long as your certificate courses are degree applicable. For this reason, many students decide to pursue a degree after earning a certificate or will use a certificate to specialize within their degree. Carol and I are now going to spend some time discussing our Bachelor of Liberal Arts program, as well as our Master of Liberal Arts program, and how you can earn a certificate along with a degree. Harvard Extension School awards 2 degrees, the Bachelor of Liberal Arts, or ALB, and the Master of Liberal Arts, or ALM. To earn our Bachelor of Liberal Arts degree, students must complete 128 credits, up to half of which can be transferred in from other institutions. Students are required to choose a concentration, humanities, social sciences, or sciences. They're also given the opportunity to specialize further by declaring a field of study or minor after gaining admission. Students can take as much time as they need to finish the ALB degree, as there is no degree completion deadline. For our Master of Liberal Arts degree, we offer 23 fields of study. The majority of our ALM programs require students to complete 12 courses, totaling 48 credits, and at least one course, totaling 4 credits, must be completed on campus. Each of our graduate degree programs has a 5-year degree completion deadline that starts after the completion of any 2 or 3 degree applicable courses, depending on your specific field of study. If you're thinking about starting with a certificate and then earning a degree, please be aware that your degree completion clock will likely begin while you're completing your certificate coursework, regardless of whether or not you've completed your admission courses. If you're interested in earning an ALM, we do recommend reviewing the degree requirements page for your field of study to learn about field-specific requirements for admission and degree completion. Both of our degree programs use an Earn Your In admissions model. Students earn admission by first verifying their eligibility. If they're eligible, they'll enroll in admissions courses required for their degree program. The admissions courses count towards your degree requirements. They are not extra courses. Students must earn grades of B or higher in all admissions courses while also maintaining an overall GPA of 3.0 or higher. When you're in your final admissions course, you can go ahead and apply for admission. To learn more about our admissions process, including the eligibility requirements, please visit our undergraduate and graduate program admissions pages, which we'll post in the chat. Let's talk about where to begin if you're interested in earning a degree as well as a certificate. First, we do recommend checking your eligibility for your desired degree program. For students whose main goal is to earn a degree, we strongly recommend that you verify your eligibility prior to enrolling in courses. This way, you know you're eligible before investing time, energy, and money into your coursework. For students who might realize they want to earn a degree after taking some courses or even after earning a certificate, we recommend verifying your eligibility as soon as possible. When you're ready to begin, you can go ahead and register for courses. If your primary goal is a degree, start with the admissions courses. Some admissions courses may even be applicable to a certificate. For example, you might be able to use an ALB admissions course towards the undergraduate professional communications certificate. When you're in your final admissions course, you can apply for admission. And if you're admitted, you can work with your academic advisor to craft a plan to earn your degree and achieve your other educational goals. Once admitted, you can also consider which certificates might complement your degree. On the degree requirements page for each field of study, we list optional certificates and micro-certificates that can be earned using degree courses. For example, if you're interested in earning an ALM in finance, but want to expand your data analysis skills, the Data Analytics Graduate Certificate might be the perfect option. So if you want to earn a degree and a certificate, but aren't sure where to begin in choosing your certificate, the list of optional certificates is a great place to start. I'll now hand it over to my colleague, Carol, who will discuss insider tips and support.
Hello, everyone. When you register for a course, make sure it counts towards your intended certificate and degree. You can check how a course counts using our course catalog as previously discussed by Casey. We recommend opening 2 tabs, one with the certificate course catalog and one with the degree course catalog. Check to see if your course of interest is listed in both, and if so, how it counts towards each credential. As a reminder, a course can count towards a maximum of 1 certificate and 1 degree. It cannot count towards 2 certificates or 2 degrees, with the exception would be if you're completing a micro certificate that stacks to a 4-course certificate. Finally, schedule a pre-degree and admissions advising appointment with our office. In these one-on-one appointments, we can discuss your eligibility, help you plan which courses to take, and review the admissions process. If you hope to earn a degree, you are first eligible to meet with a pre-degree and admissions advisor once you have registered for a course. We have presented you with a few options for furthering your education at Harvard Extension School. But what if you're not sure what credential you want to earn yet? That's perfectly fine. Many students embark on their first course with one goal in mind, taking a course for personal or professional enrichment, earning a certificate, or pursuing the degree, and change their end goal as they take more courses. Students who have not yet set an end goal may be uncertain of where to begin. We recommend that you review our certificate and degree offerings to see what might spark your interest. Then check out the course catalog to see what we offer and how it could count towards your credential of interest. This approach allows you to test out a course at the Harvard Extension School while knowing that it may count towards a credential if you decide to pursue your educational journey at Harvard. No matter what your end goal, here are your next steps. First, review the requirements for your desired goal. Look at the courses required for a certificate or the pre-admission courses for a degree. Then, plan out your unique academic journey. Consider the credential timeframes, course load, outside commitments, and personal or professional goals. We want to see you succeed, so be realistic what works for your life. Register for your courses. If you're looking to start soon, summer 2024 course registration is open through June 6th for on-campus courses and June 20th for online courses. The academic year 2023/2024 courses will be posted by mid-June on our website, and fall course registration opens July 22nd. If you want to learn more about this process, we're dropping a link in the chat to a recent webinar that we gave that will help you with a step-by-step walkthrough of the summer registration process. And finally, contact us, our office, with any questions you may have. We hope that this presentation has been informative and you're starting to consider your pathway here with us at the Harvard Extension School. I will now hand it back over to Jacqueline, who will kick off our live Q&A session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda, Casey, Ashley, and Carol, for the comprehensive overview of our different stackable pathways. I would now like to invite our student panel who will be joining us for our Q&A. Samira, welcome. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and what degrees and certificates you've completed or are thinking of completing?
Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate you inviting me here for this panel, and hello, students. So my name is Samira Gupta. I am currently a classification and compensation analyst here at Harvard Extension School and FAS. And the two certificates that I held was organizational behavior and strategic management. And last May, I graduated with ALM degree, so master's in management.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Samira, and congratulations, belated congratulations on graduating. We've got commencement coming up soon, and I know for so many of our students who pursue a degree, it's one of the highlights of their experience. So we appreciate you being here, and I'm sure we'll have so many great questions that our students want to hear from you. Awesome. So now I'd like to also invite Maggie to join us and tell us a bit more about yourself. So Maggie, whenever you're ready, we welcome you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the panel today. I really, really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here. I finished my graduate certificate this past summer in real estate investment. So that is what I completed. But I started out just, as I think Carol said, many students do, just looking at courses for mere personal enrichment purposes. So yeah, my journey became much more than I initially anticipated. And it's been really a phenomenal journey.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maggie. And again, we're so grateful that you're here to share your experience with students who, want to step into the same journey that you both kind of pursued. So thank you both. And at this time, I'll invite everyone who presented previously to turn on your cameras, and we'll kick off our Q&A session. And a reminder to everyone here today to continue to submit your questions in the panel. We'll either answer those in the back end or triage them to our panelists. So thank you all again, too, for your engagement up until this point. So my first question for our panel is actually for Amanda Peters. Amanda, what resources are available at CARC and the Mignone Center for Career Success?
Absolutely. This is a question we get all the time. So as I mentioned earlier, the Career and Academic Resource Center, which we call CARC, and I manage the career part of it. We also have a colleague who does fantastic work supporting the academic side of students' engagement at the Extension School. But for the career part of it, we focus on delivering webinars that cover career development essentials like your resume, positioning your degree or certificate for the Harvard Extension School to employers, or leveraging your experience to employers, and also things like LinkedIn networking and all those important elements. For all current students, we also offer once a month virtual drop-in hours where I meet with students for 15 minutes to talk about some aspect of their search or career exploration. In addition, on the academic side, he has a wide variety of other webinars, faculty aid program, and a variety of other things. Then for the Mignoni Center for Career Success, which is for admitted degree students and degree alumni, we serve all of those students with in-depth advising appointments where they are able to meet with us all the way through their alumni journey as well, for half an hour to talk about any aspect of their career development. We have additional events, we have career fairs, we have a job board, employer contacts, and also the opportunity to network with alumni of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences schools, which are Harvard College, the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, and Harvard Extension School admitted degree students and alums.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amanda. And we hear time and time again from our students how helpful these resources are. And I'd like to also plug too that one webinar that I think is particularly helpful is one that we've done in the past about how to have a successful first semester at Harvard Extension School. So if you're thinking about starting the summer or the fall, definitely check that out. There's some great tips in there that I think will set you up for a successful journey ahead. So thank you, Amanda. And Casey, I was wondering if you could kind of expand on this a little bit. I know you mentioned briefly in your presentation that you hold office hours. Could you tell us a bit more about the resources available to students wanting to pursue a micro certificate or a certificate with us?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely here for all the students that might have questions pursuing their certificate or micro certificate. I run weekly virtual office hours twice a week, Tuesday mornings, Eastern Standard Time, 10 to noon time. And then on Thursday afternoons, 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time to try to, reach those international students that might be in a different time zone than us. But we're here to definitely answer any questions that people might have, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey. And yes, definitely take advantage of, those office hours and get your individualized questions answered. And kind of in the same vein, Ashley, could you tell us a bit more again about the resources available to someone wanting to pursue a degree?
Absolutely. So we are able to support students through a variety of ways. One of our most popular methods is students scheduling an advising appointment. So in these 30-minute one-on-one meetings, you can work with an advisor to talk about your admissions courses, your eligibility for admission. If you're working towards a certificate at that moment, at the same time as you're pursuing admission, we can walk you through figuring out how your courses count to the various credentials. We also provide support via email as well. Some students prefer to have everything in written form, and that's perfectly fine. So you can also always send us an email if you have questions. So we do provide a variety of support. In addition to this, we also offer virtual office hours. These are drop-in with a question, leave with an answer sessions, where students can get general questions answered quickly.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. And Samira, I was wondering if you could tell us if you use any of these resources while, enjoying your Stackable journey here at Harvard Extension School.
Yes, that's a great question. And I definitely did. So I started off my journey where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to get a master's degree through Harvard Extension, but I wasn't sure in terms of what classes or what certificates to really go through. And so what I started off with, actually Lauren O'Brien's on here, but she was my pre-degree advisor, and she was very, very helpful. And that whole team, extremely helpful in trying to help me in determine my pathway. So I knew I wanted to do a management degree, but what did that entail? So I had started off with the organizational behavior certificate. So I started with my 4 courses that I needed to get to be able to apply for the degree itself. And then I looked at courses, I looked at the descriptions to see what was a good interest to me towards that degree and for that certificate. And then that's how I was able to get that first certificate. And then my second one was strategic management, which was interesting because I graduated in May and I didn't have enough time because I needed to make sure I was fulfilling my requirements to graduate. So I ended up actually taking my last course after I graduated in June and in the summer to be able to get that certificate. So that's also, you're able to do that. But it was very, very helpful with you doing these resources and consistently having an appointment with Lauren and the Predegree advising team to really just make sure that I was on the right track and understanding what courses I wanted to take, what would be my passion, and within that pathway.
Perfect. Thanks, Samira. And it's great to hear that, Lauren's here with us today, and we see the impact of all of those kind of, advising sessions that you got to your end goal. And I think you are one of the perfect examples of maximizing your pathway here at Harvard Extension School. So thank you. Thank you so much. And Maggie, kind of wanting to give you the opportunity, did you use any of the resources we've mentioned? Do you have any tips on ways to, maximize your degree while obtaining a certificate? Sorry, maximize your time here while obtaining a certificate.
Yeah, sure. So I have not done quite as much as Samira has. I'm extremely impressed. I just did the one certificate on real estate investment. But I truly, after being reminded of all of the opportunities, I'm sort of itching to go back, and I imagine that if I am able to do that, I would be utilizing the resources that you guys have laid out so wonderfully. And I am aware that a lot of my classmates were using a lot of the advising resources as well. So that wasn't something that I ended up using too much while I was going through my certificate. But I do think that I've heard great things, and I'm interested. I'm very, very interested in getting to enjoy all of the things that you guys are laying out. I'm very interested in doing another certificate myself. So we'll have to see.
Awesome. Well, that's super exciting that you're, thinking of another certificate. And I think both your responses highlighted the range of our students we have here at Harvard Extension School. We're really here as a resource to fit into your life. So if you have time for a degree and multiple certificates, that's great. But also a lot of, our students are working full time, have other outside commitments. So a certificate might be the best option for them at this moment. So I think you both really highlight the diversity of our student body. So thank you. And kind of on that same vein, I know you both kind of brought it up a little bit. I have a question for you, Carol. Are people allowed to obtain a certificate outside a graduate degree? And Casey, feel free to add in your insights at the end as well. Oh, Carol, I think you might be on mute.
Sorry, I'm on mute. As Casey mentioned earlier, we are an open enrollment school, so students can just take courses. You don't have to submit an application to take a course or to start a certificate at the Extension School. With careful course selection, you can earn multiple certificates with your degree. And that's very valuable for you to coordinate with our office, or perhaps the ALM advising office or ELB advising office once you are admitted, if you want to do multiple certificates. But as Samira mentioned, she took her last course after she had completed her degree. So that is possible. We do have students who complete their degree and then they think, oh, you know what, I really would like to focus a little more on this particular subject. And so then they might go ahead and earn a certificate after they've earned their degree. As Casey mentioned, you do need to complete for the ALM certificates within a 3-year time period. So you would want to keep that in mind when you're looking at courses, or if you're considering doing a certificate, you complete your degree.
Perfect. Thanks, Carol. And Casey, is there anything you want to add on in terms of tips about how to think about that option?
I mean, she just nailed it. It's really knowing the options and what you have. It sounded like Samira knew that she had an option to earn a second certificate with her degree because of the courses that she chose with her degree. And she was able to access that second credential by just completing one additional course. So just knowing everything that you are pursuing is ideal ultimately to get to your goal.
Perfect. Thank you. And Samira, yeah, feel free to jump in and tell us a bit more about your experience.
Yeah, thank you. I actually didn't mention this, but Casey and you, Jacqueline, both are the ones who helped a lot, because I emailed within the inbox the certificate team to really just make sure that I was on the right path. The website is extremely helpful in differentiating, okay, this is what this certificate, like organizational behavior, these are all the courses you can take to get that certificate. So matching was very, very helpful. And then looking at the descriptions to see, okay, what do I want to do? What do I like to do? What do I want to learn more? How is this going to help my career? So that was very helpful, especially the strategic management in getting higher in levels of my career. That was very important to me, to be able to understand strategic management, and using those courses helped me utilize that and get that certificate. So that was very helpful. But I really think that if you're not sure, you have the Harvard Extension School provides you the resources, and it was very, very helpful. So thank you to all of you, because I wasn't able to accomplish all this without all of you.
That's amazing, Samira. Thank you. And yeah, another great plug for all of our resources. We want to just really drive that home, that you're not alone in this process, and we want to see you succeed and hit your milestones. So reach out to us, reach out to our resources. We've got some great videos on our YouTube channel as well to help you kind of understand all of our offerings and hear from students. Fantastic. So you kind of opened up a great kind of question, Samira. So for both of our students, I'll start off with Maggie. Why did you decide to pursue the pathway you chose? Can you walk us through a bit of your mindset? So what were your initial goals? Did you have any time constraints you were kind of working within? Anything along those lines that can help our students start to think about the questions they should be asking themselves, how they should really, maximize the start of their journey here with us.
Sure, yes. So I began, like I mentioned, I began my journey with the Extension School purely with personal enrichment in mind. I took some really unique classes on the life of Frida Kahlo, and stress, coping, and resilience. Just two areas that the name of the course sounded really interesting to me, and I'd never had the opportunity to study those things. So it was, for me, it was just like I wanted to challenge myself in different ways than what my day-to-day job required. I hadn't been a student in over 10 years, and so I was definitely nervous. I actually started out just auditing the classes, and just to sort of get my feet wet. But one class went so well that it led to another class, and then finally I said, you know what, another area that I'm really interested in, and I think would be extremely helpful to have more knowledge in than I currently do, is real estate. If I want to be able to buy a house, I want to be able to feel knowledgeable. And I had heard really great reviews about the professor and the curriculum. So I decided, well, let me try being, getting a grade. And it did take a lot. I will say that a lot of my classmates, to be fair, were professionals in the field. And so that was something that was a bit intimidating at first. I felt like, oh gosh, can I do this? But I was encouraged through both the Extension School offices and the professor himself, like, no, you you can do this as long as you're willing to put in the hours. So something that I really appreciated about the extension school, or appreciate, is that they are aware that I think a lot of students are working professionals. And so while it's rigorous, and you need the time to be able to study, especially if it's a new field, they understand that you also have other things going on, and you're not necessarily 18 and solely a student, you know. So yes, I mean, that was sort of my pathway. I started out, you know, just interested in learning some different things, and it led by chance to an entire certificate, and it's something that I'm extremely grateful to have had access to, and some of the other newer micro certificates as well. They go nicely with my with the real estate investment certificate. So I am, like I said, considering doing a stackable opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you, Maggie. And I think you highlighted again, one of the many benefits of Harvard Extension School, our diverse community. We really, you know, pride ourselves on having peers that are newer to the field to bring those fresh perspectives, but also people who have experience working in them. So you get that balance of theory and pragmatic practice, and a wealth of different perspectives in your classroom. So thank you for that. And Samira, I know you briefly mentioned it before in some of your responses, but could you walk us through your initial mindset when you were thinking about Harvard Extension School?
Yeah, so I'm actually similar to Maggie's pathway in a way. I also graduated in my undergraduate degree in 2011, and then I didn't start taking my first course at Harvard Extension School until 2019 January, so the spring semester. And I was also very nervous. I hadn't been in school in a long time, but I was in a standstill in my career. I was in banking for a decade, and I no longer wanted to be in banking. So I wanted to do a switch into human resources, and I wasn't sure how to start. And with a lot of networking, I was able to decide on that, you know what, let's start with the master's program. Let's start with the first course. So my first course was human resources management. And it was such an amazing course that it led me to you know, really be more confident in myself. And even though I haven't been in the classroom environment in a long time, and at that time, that was in-person courses. So I was commuting. I live near Worcester, Mass. So commuting every day to Cambridge and taking the course. And it was just amazing to really have that classroom effect. And then also that course there was a lot of students worldwide. So they were in Argentina, they were in China, Philippines. And so that was a really great eye-awakening experience. And so then after that, I was like, oh, wow, I did a really good job. I did great on my case analysis, my exams, got a good grade. I wanted to continue, and that's when I started talking to Predegree Advising and trying to figure out what my pathway was. So then my next course was to take an admissions course. So I took accounting, then I took finance, and did my 4 courses to be eligible to get into the program and into the management program. And then after that, then I started taking more courses, and then realized I could do my certificate. And then I focused on my certificate of organizational behavior, and then on my degree. And then, as well as keeping in the back of my mind, I could do another certificate, what other courses align with the strategic management course as well. And actually, my first course, that human resources management, I had such a great relationship. There were 2 professors at that time. And one of the professors helping me with my job hunt got me this job here at Harvard. So you really can see the experiences that you can get and the networking with the professors, with the students, and with staff here at our extension. So it was very, very helpful for me, and now I'm in this really great analytical strategic role that has helped me with the courses that I took, and the degree I have obtained through extension.
Perfect. You just provided, I think, us with a wealth of information, and I feel like I, could follow your pathway. So thank you so much, Samira. Now kind of jumping into a few technical questions we've received in the chat. I'll start off with you, Casey. What is the average time for students to complete a certificate? And do you have a recommended course load? How do you advise students to balance, outside commitments such as work, family life, volunteering while pursuing a certificate?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. So most of our students, a good majority of them, are full-time workers working full-time and learning part-time. And a lot of our certificates are done within a year and a half's time. So we do give students 3 years to complete all coursework towards a certificate, but the majority get done in a year and a half. So it is very easy, not easy, but it's very accessible to earn a credential in a short amount of time compared to some of the degrees. But it also puts you into that realm of being able to continue to maybe pursue a degree as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And Ashley, could you build off that a little bit in terms of degrees? What's the average time students are completing them? What do you recommend as a course load? How do you see your students kind of balancing outside commitments?
Yeah, I'll start by saying that everyone is really different. I have some students that will pursue our program full time, and for the graduate program, at least, that might mean they're done in 2.5 years or so. But I would say the vast majority of our students probably take one course fall, spring, and summer, so about 3 courses a year, and will usually finish in about 4 years. Some students might do it faster than that. We do have students that enjoy taking 2 courses in the fall and the spring. And so, again, it can be very, very individual, but we'll work with students, regardless of their pace, we'll work with them to develop a plan that works best for their work-life balance. And one page that I'm going to share actually in our chat is our Why Apply page, which includes statistics on the average completion time for each of our programs. I'll say our ALB program, the Bachelor of Liberal Arts, there's no degree completion deadline on that. And we also accept transfer credit for the Bachelor of Liberal Arts program. So for that reason, that degree completion average can very much vary student to student. But like I said, I'll share in the chat some more information about that.
Perfect. And actually, a couple of our prospective students want to hear both from you, Samira and Maggie, about how you, try to balance this additional credential while, having some outside commitments. I know you both kind of mentioned already, but Maggie, could you tell us a little bit about some of the strategies you use to work your certificate into your life?
Sure, yeah. So, like I said, real estate was completely a new field for me. So since I had taken a couple of courses and audited them, I had the sense that, okay, probably just one course a semester was going to be best for me, as opposed to trying to take 2 or more. And I'm really glad I did that. I'm glad I didn't rush it, because I did need a lot of time to study. But I would say that probably for professionals in the field, maybe it wouldn't have taken them quite as long to study because they probably already have a base knowledge. But for me, it was really important to say, okay, based on my workload, do I think that I'm going to be able to handle this? Because they are rigorous. The courses are really rigorous, and it's something that you should take seriously. The students in the classes, I think for the most part, like, we're all really serious about learning the knowledge that was being presented in the courses. So I really wanted to do well. So I spent a lot of time studying weekly. I think it could have been harder for me if I had kids or other, maybe some other responsibilities, but it was very, very worth it. And my professor, the main professor in the real estate investment certificate area, he was very, very encouraging. And my sense is that a lot of the professors at the extension school are also very willing to work with you. So yeah, it's a big commitment, but if you try to assess that a little bit ahead of time and you think that you can do it, I'd say it's really, really worthwhile.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maggie. And Samira, kind of pivoting a little bit, could you tell us about how completing these stackable pathways led to, this career change, this career growth that you were looking for? And then to follow that up, Amanda, I'd love to kind of hear if you've heard of similar experiences with some of your students. So Samira, over to you if you want to explain a little bit more about how these stackable credentials incrementally helped you get towards your career goals.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So in terms of the organizational behavior, I really wanted to understand how organizations behave and these specific courses, and right now on top of my head, but there was a specific course, organizational behavior. And that professor really helped me understand how different organizations, different companies, how CEOs, how, people within the organization think. And that really helped me get into this role because I wanted a role where it was analytical. I'm a numbers person, but I also am a people person. So I wanted something that was best of both worlds, which isn't an easy job because you usually just have an analytical person or you just have a people person, right? And so that's what really helped me to really understand those perspectives. Same thing with the strategic management. Being a strategic thinker, it was really important. And that's really important in a lot of positions these days, right? And so using some of those specific courses, really helped me in that mindset. And I was able to get this type of role because of these courses, and having that understanding and help me progress within the role, because I was in courses, I was in the classroom and then implementing it in the real world, which was very, very helpful. And a lot of that I used it in my presentations, either in Harvard in my current job or in the classroom as well. So vice versa, it was very, very helpful in those terms. And I do want to mention one thing that Maggie said also, that these courses aren't easy, no matter what course you take. I was juggling so many priorities, full-time job. I also had a restaurant business with my parents, and then taking a course at a time. And then towards the end, I decided to take 2 courses because I had a goal that I needed to graduate at this time. My father was turning 80 years old. You never know, as your parents get older, what may happen. And I really wanted my parents to be there for my ceremony. So my goal was to graduate within the 4 years, and I was able to do that, even though you have 5 years. So, I highly suggest take your time, use your resources. The students in the classroom are very helpful. Some of them have already taken a couple more courses and maybe that's your first course. When I got knowledgeable within the extension school and taking the courses, people were reaching out to me before I was reaching out to students. So that were in my courses, to really get an understanding of what course did you take, or what professor. So it was just really helpful in that way to navigate to see what course was best for you at that time. Because some courses are a little more rigorous and have a lot more work and homework and presentations to do, that you probably would just want to take one course at that time for that semester. And then there's some courses that are not as rigorous, but may still take time, but you could be able to do 2 courses. So
awesome. Thank you so much. Those were some great tips and, So great to hear that you've joined us here at FAS at DCE, and all of your hard work paid off. So thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you here today, our panelists, our prospective students, for your thoughtful questions. This is going to be our last question, and I'm going to ask it to everyone on the panel. Why should someone join our Harvard Extension School community? I know in all of your responses, you've given so many great examples, but if you could boil it down to one reason, why should someone join us this summer, in the fall, in the future? Carol, I will start off with you.
Sure. So I'd like to say, start up with that I'm extremely proud and happy to be working at Harvard Extension School. Everyone here is so committed to the success of our students. We're primarily an online school, but you'll have many resources and points of contact to help you along the way and to foster a sense of community at Harvard. We're all here to support you through your academic journey, be it a course or certificate or a degree. So I think that might have been more than one, but that's what I have.
Perfect. I love the excitement. Ashley, could you tell us?
Yeah, I would just say the courses. I have a PhD and I've been taking courses at Harvard Extension School, and I just find them to be just as engrossing and fascinating and helpful as the courses I've taken elsewhere. Honestly, probably more so. So I just really think our courses are fantastic, from the content to the professors to the students you're going to be interacting with. They bring such a varied life and professional experience to the classroom. It's a fantastic networking opportunity, but also just a learning opportunity. So I'd say our classes.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think you hit a lot of spots there. And it's so interesting too that so many people within our DCE community wear multiple hats. We have so many people who work here who have gone through the degree process, have a certificate, are taking a course. So you will be surrounded by a wealth of knowledge community, people wearing several hats here at Extension. Fantastic. Maggie, over to you. What is the number one reason you think someone should join us here?
Yes, I agree. It's really hard to just choose one. But based on my experiences, I was just really blown away by the professors. I really felt like they genuinely wanted the students to understand the material. And I felt like the material is broken down in a very clear, digestible manner, which was very helpful as somebody who didn't have a lot of prior knowledge in the field. And also some of the professors were able to really incorporate humor, which I found great, when especially it could be really it could be really hard and can feel stressful. So to be able to laugh and engage with both your peers and the professors, that was really, really great. And I just have to echo what other folks have said, that the network is just incredible. The peers that you will meet, the international folks in your area that you might not have been connected with before. This is an incredible opportunity to become a part of the Extension School.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Samira, you could add on.
Yes, I honestly, to my knowledge, I don't think that there's any other school that can help you balance real life versus in the classroom. So really working and juggling personal life and other priorities, and being able to constantly learn with these renowned professors. You have amazing TAs that can really help you outside the classroom, inside the classroom, and then all the staff members here at Extension. I'm very passionate about it. I came from the outside perspective, and now I have joined, as a member of the Extension School. But it was just amazing, and seeing students all over the world and having conversations, understanding different cultures and various conversations. It was just great.
Awesome. Casey.
I'm going to say chance and possibility. So the fact that we're an open enrollment and you can learn an Harvard education without jumping through hoops is amazing. And then it's this phenomenal community once you're here.
And Amanda, last but not least, how about you?
Absolutely. I'm going to echo everything everyone else said and say the amazing students. When you're with people, as you've heard today, who have 10+ years average work experience across the wealth of areas that you're studying, like the museum studies class I'm in right now, where almost everyone works in a museum, it's pretty amazing to get that knowledge, not just from the professors, but from your fellow students, and to build that long-term network of people who really end up staying in touch with each other.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for your insightful responses, and thank you to everyone here today for your thoughtful questions. If we weren't able to answer your question, or if more arise, please email us at inquiry@extension.harvard.edu here on your screen, or call us at 617-495-4024. Make sure to also follow us on our Harvard Extension School social media to stay updated on deadlines, hear student testimonials, and learn more about our offerings. Lastly, if you're interested in learning more about Harvard Extension School, you can scan this QR code here, and it will take you to our event page. We'll be having some fall registration webinars this summer to kind of get everyone prepared and to teach everyone a bit more about our offerings. And a reminder that this webinar recording will be sent to the email you used to register, uploaded to the event page, and on our Harvard Extension School YouTube channel. We thank you all so much for spending your time with us here today, and we hope to see you in a class soon. Thank you all.